By a show of hands, how many of you are cancer survivors or know someone who's gone through cancer? Look around. Are we winning the war? In 1971, President Richard Nixon signed the National Cancer Act. In 40 plus years, we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars on our ongoing war on cancer. The National Cancer Institute alone has spent $95 billion on cancer research and treatment. But we still have no cure. Today, in America, 1 out of 2 men will be diagnosed with cancer. 1 out of 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer. And 1 out of 4 Americans will lose their life to cancer. I became a statistic in 2010. I received a phone call that no one wants to get and heard those 3 words: "You have cancer." I stood in my kitchen, shocked, in disbelief. I looked fine. I felt healthy. I was actually heading out the door to go to the gym. 35 years old and diagnosed with prostate cancer, often considered an older man's cancer. I get asked all the time, why were you screened for prostate cancer? I mean, it's not recommended that you get tested till you're 55 years old. It was an accident. I'd gone to get an annual physical, which I never get. And the doctor drew blood. He said, "You're fine, but I would encourage you to go to urologist. Your testosterone levels are slightly low. Not too low, but just a little low. Could be from stress, from poor diet, environmental factors." So I went to a urologist, and the urologist drew blood and confirmed that I had slightly low testosterone levels. But no big deal. We'll give you a little bit of gel. You'll rub it on your shoulder every day. And you know what? Within a matter of days, I was feeling more energetic. Within a matter of weeks, I was getting more muscular. I was leaning out. I actually liked that testosterone gel. But the lab ran a test that had not been ordered, a prostate-specific antigen test. I got a phone call a few weeks later. The nurse said, "We think there was a mistake, but we need you to come back and retest." And I did. The numbers went up more. I had a biopsy. And that's what led to my diagnosis of prostate cancer. So now I had to look at treatment options. What was I to do? The first doctor I saw said, "Well, we need to remove your prostate." Well, what are the side effects of that? 9 months to maybe a year of sexual dysfunction, perhaps permanent sexual dysfunction, loss of control of your bladder. Okay, do I have another option? This doctor over here said, you have the option of being on active surveillance because your prostate cancer is a low-grade, low-volume cancer. It's contained, and we can watch it. You can have quarterly blood tests, annual biopsies. So in other words, for me, it was a ticking time bomb. Because there's no guarantee that in between blood tests that it could become more aggressive and escape the prostate and start spreading all in my body. I was faced with some difficult choices. I went home and I started researching. I was digging. I wanted other options. And I read a book by a doctor in New York City, and I flew to meet him face to face. I said, "So, you believe that I can control the progression of the cancer that is inside of me by radically altering my diet and my lifestyle and engaging in stress management?" Yes. I looked at him and I thought he was a quack because I hadn't heard of that before. And he said, "You know, all these years, the way that you've been eating, your lifestyle habits have not been conducive to living an anti-cancer lifestyle. You know, when I think about it, by the time I was 35 years old, I'd had 35 to 40,000 meals with hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, larvicides, genetically modified, highly processed. That's not even including the high salt, high fat, high sugar foods, also contributors to chronic health conditions and cancers. Now, I asked him about the environmental factors. Remember that little bit of gel that I rubbed on my shoulders every morning? And just like that, it changed my body from the inside out. I asked the doctor, well, what about all those chemicals, the antiperspirant I've been putting under my arm day after day, year after year? What about, I live down in Houston, Texas. What about the bug repellent that I put on my skin? What is that doing to my body? Day after day, summer after summer. Have you ever thought about that? Yeah, shaving cream, aftershave, body spray, the makeup that you wear all day. Because we're finding more and more research is telling us that a lot of these products have endocrine disruptors that are ubiquitous in everything, and they're linked to cancers. You see, we have a big problem. Cancer has become our new normal, and that's not acceptable. And we must change our strategy in the war on cancer and have a greater emphasis on cancer prevention. Because the National Cancer Institute, the American Cancer Society, and the American Association of Cancer Researchers say that more than half of all cancers are preventable. Some suggest even up to 70 and 80%. Did you know that? Did you know that only 1 out of every 10 cancer cases is due to genetics? That's right. NCI, ACS, they all say only 5 to 10% of cancers are due to an inherited genetic mutation. Only 5 to 10% are genetic. We just observed National Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in September. You wouldn't know that because the media failed us all. They didn't do any stories on prostate cancer prevention, chemicals that contribute to cancer, younger and younger men that are getting cancer. No, instead the media focused on Real Housewives of New Jersey, Teresa Giudice possibly going to jail, Kim Kardashian's new baby. 30,000 dads, husbands, brothers, and sons will die to prostate cancer this year. It's the most commonly diagnosed male cancer in America, and we see it in younger and younger men. Again, I was diagnosed at 35. I met a mother last year who had lost her son at age 36. And I was just in New York City and met someone diagnosed at age 29. And this month, as we observe Breast Cancer Awareness Month, of course, we are all aware of that. We see the pink everywhere. Again, we continue to see that cancer being diagnosed in younger and younger ladies. A friend of mine just finished her 3rd round of chemo, looked healthy, felt healthy, 28 years old. My buddy's wife, thank God she's with us today, diagnosed at age 27. After my diagnosis, and as I started traveling the country and speaking, I realized something, and it was a glaring something that I wanted to do something about. You see, September and October, prostate and breast cancer awareness months, you see hundreds of thousands of individuals out there that are enlisted as an army of fundraisers. But here's a question that I have. Are we missing an opportunity here? What good does it do to have a young man in high school, in college, in his 20s and 30s, become aware of prostate cancer when he won't get screened until he's 55 years old? Or a girl in high school, in college, she won't have the recommended mammogram till she's 40. Why aren't these individuals becoming educated with the knowledge of cancer prevention? That's what is missing right now. We can save lives right now because each day, right now, today, 5,000 Americans will be diagnosed with cancer. 1,600 will die today. And we could be saving lives right now. It's why I founded a nonprofit organization, not to compete with anyone, but to be another voice in this war on cancer, to shake things up, to ruffle some feathers, because my intention is to create an army of activists that are out there, a younger generation that wherever they live, Portland, Miami, Boston, Victoria, I want them to ask these questions. What are the chemicals in the air that I'm breathing? What about what's coming out of my water and where I live? Because there are certain areas that have a disproportionately high number of cancer rates. What's going on around there? Is there a refinery down there that's dumping toxic waste? We're missing the message of prevention. We're missing reaching a younger generation and empowering them and educating them. A big national cancer center about a year ago asked me to meet with another big national cancer nonprofit. And we had lunch, a representative. And this national nonprofit has so much reach and power, and they raise a lot of money. They said, Gabe, we admire what you're doing. We really couldn't do that. And I said, why couldn't you do that? Well, it's more about having a good time. We try to get people there, we raise money, it goes off to research. Yeah. We've got to change the conversation because we've been having the same conversation for 40 plus years. It's not all about money, though since I've gotten in this, it seems like a lot of it is. So what can we do? What can you do? What can I do? Dig, research, become educated, become knowledgeable, get on the internet, look at the word carcinogen, understand what those cancer-causing agents are that are all around you. Look up the word cancer prevention. Start studying that. Become curious about that. We've got some great cancer prevention advocates on the forefront. Doctors like Dean Ornish, Margaret Cuomo, Lorenzo Cohen, Gordon Sachs, Philippa Cheatham. Go read their books, read their articles, YouTube them. I'm a visual person, and I learned so much by going on YouTube and watching what these doctors say are things to stay away from, things that you should start eating more of, or better body care products. But then once you start becoming more knowledgeable and educated, it's your responsibility and it's my responsibility to share that with family and friends. At no other time in our war on cancer have we had the opportunity like we have right now with social media. Just like that, we can disseminate information, get instant feedback. When you see a product that you find that has harmful ingredients, Instagram it, share that. When you find something that you think is better, do the same. We have the opportunity to make a huge difference. We must seize this opportunity right now. Support those companies with your dollars. Those companies that are transparent with their labeling. Those companies that don't have those questionable chemicals. Finally, follow the money. Follow the money. With your legislators, with the talking heads, I can't tell you how many times I've listened to a talk show host, a TV personality, who completely rebuts the message of cancer prevention, says that none of that stuff is true. Look at who their advertisers are. Look at who sponsors them. Look at who's in bed with who. When it comes to your legislators, when it comes to your elected officials, vote on those issues that protect us. Who are they for? Are they for them, the few who line their pockets to protect their interests? Or are they for us, to protect us and our well-being and our health? Again, 1 out of 2 will be diagnosed, 1 out of 2 men, and 1 out of 3 women. Every day, I get phone calls and emails from people all over the country who are about to lose someone or who are going through the journey themselves. I do it for them. We should all do it for each other. We owe it to ourselves and those who've lost their lives to cancer. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. And I ask that you join me in changing the conversation. Thank you.